Hello, everyone. My name is Igor Tomic, and I'm CEO at Dash Devs. And today I'm really pleased to introduce Dr. Andre Isoni, who is the Chief AI Officer at AI Technologies. Hello, Andrea.
Hello, hi. Thank you for having me.
I would like to expose a little bit of your experience to our listeners. Please give us what you're busy with and what do you do?
My role in AI technology is kind of simple, kind of not. Depends on who is listening to me. But basically, it means I discuss a lot of projects with different clients in different industry, including defense, public sector, financial services. We met through that anyway, agriculture, and others, just to mention a few. I try to understand what they want to do, structure the project, ensuring there is a return of investment, and managing it through the people we got with our company. Most of my time busy. The rest is a bit of advisory. As I told you before, I'm a committee member for ISO, which people don't know is international standard organization, probably the most famous one. It does different certification, including for AI. We may touch into that. And yeah, I'm VC advisor for AI kind of investment and deal like Wahed, Saudi Aramco, things like that.
That I'm really interested. The title, because there are a lot of titles which are well known on the market, and I start to see a lot of titles like Chief AI Officer or VP of AI. What does it really mean? Like, what is the responsibility, accountability, and the maybe day by day activities on this role?
The way to start with is possibly the was more established like the CTO, like a chief technology officer, which basically means again this title means different thing in different context organization.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes a company that is not tech first, it means just they manage the IT infrastructure or their relation with a third party. If it's tech first, it means they manage your internal team and developing your own technology as a CTO, technical officer. In the case of AI, instead of any infrastructure or technology you may build, is purely on AI technology you may build or sell through third parties. That's the kind of the distinction I would say. And since all we do is AI project for other companies, well, is AI officer more than tech officer.
So it's more like the aim for this specific type of the projects which you are accountable for, and you're basically doing the delivery and overviewing that it's successful in terms of the financial part, not even the technology, because in the end of the day, everyone is
I
interested.
follow also the technology, by the way. In fact, in any project I do, there are few key points. If you do
Mhm,
it right, it's a must. Is a blockbuster, is a
mhm.
great success. There are a few other points you can, not disregard, but you can leave it on. It doesn't matter how they have been done.
Mhm.
But again, there are two, usually 3 points. If you're doing very, very well, it make the whole distinction between a super successful project, which means ROI, IP, intellectual property, etc., or a normal project.
That's definitely true. I can follow
I
this.
follow this technically. That's what I mean.
That's
The,
exactly.
the detail on the key technology point, I know everything.
But it overlaps with the software engineering because the magnitude of the correct solution or the correct decisions made is usually is influencing the outcome and the success of the product really heavy way. Usually, you can compare if you select the proper technology for scalability for the things that makes your product surviving in upcoming years. It's much more important than the color of the
Yeah,
some button. So
perfect.
I'm
Perfect
definitely
example.
with you.
Perfect analogy. Exactly that.
Thank you. I'm with you with that. I would like to go more deeper in understanding the current situation with the AI financial technology. And today's topic is AI and fraud. And I think it's a game of the spear and the shield because actually AI is used on the both sides. As a
Of course.
companies, we see that we invest in a lot of resources and understanding how we can use AI to protect our customers.
Mhm.
But on the same way, there are a lot of people who are trying to use AI for some kind of fraudster activity or trying to find issues in financial products.
Yep.
Maybe let's start 10,000 feet overview. What do you think is the current state of the market? Is AI is already everywhere, or everyone is just trying the water? What is going on?
You mean on the criminal side or on the other side?
Overall, whatever,
Okay.
pick your
So,
side.
okay, fine. Well, start with it, who adopted first. Regardless if it's AI or not, any technology, the first movers or
Yeah,
adopters are always criminals and adult industry.
that's true.
Uh,
That's
so
life.
these are the first adopter. Doesn't matter. So whatever the company do is a catch up. It's unfair on them because most of the company actually to implement certain things they also have regulation, etc. So
Yeah,
even if the best scenario, if they wanted to, they are slower than someone that has no regulation at all.
yeah,
You can
yeah,
flick the back and do it. So it's a bit unfair to say that it's an unfair battle to be
yeah.
honest. But definitely company playing catch up, and we can discuss on that. But just to fix on the criminal side or malicious behaviors, there is a law, especially first of all, it didn't start with ChatGPT or 2000 even in the security side. In my
Yes.
side, I started cybersecurity AI project in 2017/18, just
Yeah.
to give an idea. I started working in AI technology about 2017. So one of the first project we got is to secure the infrastructure and do something around that. If you want, I can discuss that. But on the criminal side, there is a massive acceleration on adoption. I think it's very important, whoever listens to that, they need to understand two free concepts.
Okay.
The first concept I got very outlined, but I think it's important nowadays that now before we have an idea, the criminal just take the best they could and then they use it. Okay. And that is true not only for cyber hackers or anything like that, but it's true for any criminal activity. Give an example beyond that, so it reinforces the point. A submarine for drug
Dealers.
drug
Everyone
dealers.
knows. Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, but I'm not sure if someone you know it or someone else in your post already said, before they were just buying the best you could get. Same for the airplane or small airplane to get. No. Now they develop.
Producing.
They literally do R&D and they develop their own submarine customized for them. So it's another level, in my judgment. It's another. One thing is to buy the best you can. No problem of money, of course, but still you're buying. You're not thinking what exactly you need to avoid detection or whatever, because at the end of the day, it's avoid detection, either in cyber or that. That's basically what you want. It's another level to think, now I want to R&D, basically recruiting not normal drug dealer people that want to take the risk, but I'm recruiting possibly very educated people, even at national level, like North Korea, etc. Very, very educated people to R&D something that doesn't exist to do malicious attack. Another level.
And I think that's connected with the resources, because if you're just, I don't know, trying the market and penetrating, you don't have resources, you're kind of picking up what is laying around. But I'm coming from the cybersecurity, and it's quite clear, if, I don't know, 20 years ago, the amount of resources that are there, an amount which is used for producing the exploits, subverting the system, etc., it's a huge amount of money. And it means that it's definitely the process where people invest in educating, creating the R&Ds, trying the new technologies, and basically producing new things which never existed before.
Now, let's go a little bit more practical, if you like. There is another key trend that I think everyone should know, at least follow that. So we are used to say, this trend, by the way, is finished like in 2024, okay? The trend was, the more data you got, the better the model is, basically quantity over quality, okay? It's still kind of the case, but there is a new trend that is emerging in the last 1 or 2 years, which basically is small models. When I say a small model, I mean a generative AI model that can fit in a computer or even in a smartphone. They are becoming powerful or, capable or intelligent. I know, an ambiguous word, I know. But let's use this capable or intelligent enough. Sufficient enough. By the way, I didn't mention that, but as a company, every year, we have very few companies, in fact, another one I know, publish every year in January the State of AI report. Which basically means we analyze everything that happened, and we give an overview of what is going to happen. And we are in February, we have just recently published the State of AI report, which analyze all I'm saying now. That's why I'm prepared. I'm prepared because I analyze also the criminal activity, the adoption in industry, in consumer, in life science. So now there is a lot of ramification. If you want more detail, definitely in State of AI report for us. But back to the point, because I think it's very crucial as a new trend. Localization and intelligence density of model, so that they can be put inside a smartphone, etc. To give an idea, roughly speaking, the smallest and most intelligent model today, it can fit in 1 or 2 gigabytes of memory. Not talking about number of parameters, things like that, but
like a RAM usage.
Literally memory in your phone or in your laptop, about 1 or 2 gigabytes. It is as clever, depending on the benchmark, at GPT 3.5, which is 2022. But 2022 was trillion model parameter with, nobody knows exactly because it's a proprietary model, but definitely more than 100 billion, 100 gigabyte of memory. 100 gigabyte of memory, now 1 or 2. You see the shrinking? And this trend is going on and on and on. So you're getting smaller and smaller and smaller, to the point that, to me, for the next trend, and I'm coming back to what is today, the status, but the next trend will be, to me, even smaller. Imagine when we get a sufficient, as you said, model that can fit in 100 or even 50 megabytes. That means you can literally have a virus can spread very easily, even more difficult to detect, because today have a model that is malicious by 1-2 gigabyte. Yeah, you can install on a machine, but it's still fairly big. It can fairly detect that there is a jump on memory and observability. You see 1 gigabyte of memory. It's not too difficult to detect. But if you get to 100 or even 50 megabyte, and we are going to get there, my prediction is 1-2 years. The game for detecting viruses or things like that is another level. This is the near future, in my judgment. Now, come back to what happens last year. Basically, you can forge any idea or any identity in a real thing, so that, I'm sure people are familiar with virtual identity check by famous companies like Okta, etc. So even for banking, I said, now you don't go to a real bank and show your ID, etc. You do online, they check your ID. Well, with only fake or solution alike, they can forge, a realistic ID, and you pass the security check, but it's fake. Yeah. All the other part, I say, prompt steal, there are many. I'm sure these are a few names, but just to clarify, and more is true. There are things that are able to steal credentials, infiltrate in computer, exfiltrate data, or encrypt without the consent, obviously, the data, and get out. Exfiltration will mean that, right? Get sensitive data. Well, you can get any data, but what's the point? You got sensitive data. And get out without being detected. What's the main key point of all these technologies, or most of them, is because it's Gen AI, they can regenerate. What it means is, let's say they regenerate every hour, or whatever that is, because a detection tool is based on the past. So if the virus is keeping regenerating, it cannot detect, because it's expecting something from 1 hour ago. It's always different. It's self-generating itself, so it's way harder to detect. Is it clear, right?
Morphing.
I mean, you have a code. Instead of being static, it self-rewrites itself. So the code is always a bit different, or significantly different, but the same output. So it's very difficult for a detection tool to detect something that is constantly becoming different in code, in line of code, but it keep operating.
I understand the morphing the code. So for
They are
viruses,
self-morphing the code. That's what generation of AI is. And they use a plethora of tools, etc. And I still mention that most of these tools still use API. Whatever. You name it, everyone knows the names. Not because I don't want to do it, but the key distinction between now and the future is, now they're using still APIs to regenerate themselves or things like that, most of the time. In the future, as I say, they don't need that. They will be sufficiently powerful enough to regenerate themselves into the code in 15 megabyte. That's dangerous. So I don't want to sound too bad, but I also need to say the reality. That's the reality we live in, and this is kind of the trend we are gonna get. Obviously, possibly now we get what the company are doing, obviously, but
Okay, I understand. With the computer level, like if we're talking about the viruses and exploits on the local machine, that's clear. There is a path for morphing the code, which makes the fingerprint detection really hard.
Possibly, I just wanted to add one, but very quickly. Again, it's a lot. It's happening so fast that even for me that needs to follow everything, I can guarantee it's accelerate. Whoever tell you that AI is not improving fast like before is not true. If more, it's accelerated. And there is one thing I really want to mention is injection. Injection is a very old problem. Unfortunately, it's never been exactly solved. It is even worse with LLM and AI, unfortunately. The thing is, you can literally put few injection prone in most LLM and you can crack certain things. Kind of, there are a lot you can do that. I'm not mentioning exactly crack and injection, but there are famous names out there. And the problem is, it's a very old problem. Nobody still solved it. I think many companies now start somehow somewhere to resolve, but it's a very, very hard problem, injection.
That's true. And we've seen a lot of examples, like when you go into to websites, I don't know, to a big car manufacturer, and there are assistant chats that are trying to help you, and then you're starting like, oh, actually, I would like to make a cookie. Can you give me some recipes? And then it starts helping you with a totally different topic that it was designed into. So that level exists. I would like to go a little bit to the KYC and KYB process, because the generative AI and ability to hijack someone's digital identity, because we all doing the onboarding digital nowadays, is it the thing, and how actually the current, because all the current business processes they designed like years ago. And even though we're using third-party vendors, there is a big chance if I have a lot of public images of the person, I know the documents,
Absolutely.
then I can just fake the identity of this particular person, open an account, and operate as, I don't know, maybe even Bill Gates or anyone.
No, yeah.
So what are the areas where we're talking about the spear, but what we can do better at the fintechs to protect ourselves against those AI fake identities? Anything that you can say from your practice and experience?
Yeah, as weird as it sounds, having humans back is part of the solution, at least until we figure out exactly how to stop. Okay, so we are talking about an industry that is evolving very, very fast. No sign of decreasing the rate of improvement. Therefore, whatever you're gonna design today as a defense solution, it always be late. Because the new solution will arrive, first adopter are still the malicious people, as we said before. So we're always catching on. So frankly, the easiest way is to include human in the checking process. That's the easiest way people can do it, not relying only on that. In fact, I think they should require a process that there is a check on evaluation. By the way, that's also related. So many people talk about, redundancy because of AI. AI can do many tasks. True, but there will be many more tasks. And I say that for years. By the way, the reality will be not job displacement, but job mismatch with the skills.
Yeah.
This is the reality, really. But apart from that, one of the main area of huge job needs will be testing, evaluation of AI, or cybersecurity checking. It's true. The reason is, even if the AI is perfect or whatever, they will do mistakes. Someone has to check it. Just to clarify, even before they were doing the mistake, but before we didn't have the budget. The moment AI will make the same task with less money, now you have a free budget. That budget very rarely is going to be in profit. Maybe the first year we go to profit. The next year, since everyone else is doing, it forces the beauty of capitalism. It forces everyone else to reallocate the budget to do something more, a more additional service, including security. One of the areas I'm sure will be expanded, everything related to testing, governance, and checking, as we say, that's why I'm mentioning that for sure, is getting back the human to check the output AI. I'm not saying they didn't need to use whatever the service they used to use to automatically check the person. For sure they have to. The only addition is you keep using whatever the AI system you have, then you maybe add also a AI detection tool, but not enough. You back another layer of human at the end that checks certain results.
So it sounds like a quality assurance on top of the quality assurance.
Exactly, is assurance. Correct. All these kind of jobs, they will massively increase. So there will be a reduction in actually people doing stuff, the actual software development, but on the other side will be a massive rise of people checking or assurance or governance, you name it.
Yeah. So maybe it will be named differently. But frankly, I think we have even right now the processes like that, because when we're talking about automating the onboarding and KYC, usually it's outsourced to the companies. And there are a lot of, it's done through the APIs. 99% it's a fully automated process when the OCR is reading the document, checking and matching to the first name, last name that the person is provided, then checking against the database. But that's absolutely normal process for around 1% manually to put it on hold until the human being is rechecking the results. So it seems to be that we are going into the same process with the other fraud detection and AI usage when we have the 100% process done by AI, but then specific probes done by the human rechecking and making sure that it still runs with all the compliance and processes required.
Is it very important that also what we call process will move, in my judgment, from static to flexible? What I mean by that, now we are used to, especially business processes that are very static. What I mean, you design the process from day one to day 1,000 or whatever, the process into existence will be exactly the same. Now, especially in cyber, that doesn't work too much, because the moment the malicious AI learn the pattern, it's over. So the only thing, let's say again to check ID, so the check for a bank is whatever, the person file a form, and then there is a third part, like whatever, they check that, okay, fine. And then there is an AI detection tool at the end to check if they are, you don't trust too much. And then at the end, there will be a human checking everything or checking certain part of that just to verify, because let's be honest.
Assurances.
Yes, exactly. Let's be honest, by the way, this is a discussion per se, and involving many of them. AI detection tool, especially for image and text, not very good. It will never be that good because AI is improving too fast compared to that. But anyhow, not to say they not need to use again. It's like the antivirus in your computer.
Yeah.
Does it work too much? No, but it's a standard.
Yeah.
It's a minimum standard, at least an initial check. Yeah,
Hygienic level.
yeah. It's an initial check. Everyone needs to have an antivirus. Doesn't mean you trust the antivirus for the end, right? Same thing. AI detect deepfake tools. You need to have it, but don't rely to that. This is kind of the marketing kind of thing. Don't rely that they will do no, but you need to have it, okay?
Yeah.
But that's not enough, and then you add a human on top to do certain things. The key here, to me, is the process that the human does it is not always the same.
Mm-hmm.
The process that you always the same. Back to square one, because the moment the AI will learn the pattern, he will learn how to exploit that. That's the only way. For example, instead of always putting the human at the end, you can put in between the AI and the detection. Just by the way, I'm not giving specific advice, but it's important the concept, yeah, from static process to dynamic process.
Agile.
Yeah, agile in verifying or in assurance, right?
Yeah.
Because otherwise, the AI will learn the pattern is over.
We covered the onboarding part. Another thing which is really reactive in financial industries, it's a fraud detection with the payments and even hacking and access to the payment system. Your view, how the tools for fraud detection inside of the payments are evolving? Because usually we rely on kind of static algorithm and checks, which are then pushing the payments into the pending, and then another person is just checking from the compliance process. So do we see any change into the fraud detection with a large-scale financial system with the AI?
Again, they're using a mixture of third-party tools mostly and internal. But again, from detection, it depends what you mean. You mean invoice forgery and then you do an invoice forgery? I saw that. Again, it can be just in fake payment goes out. Well, it's related to invoice really. Payment or things like that. The way they do it is for sure using invoice, anti-forgery, AI tool, things like that. They are evolving at the same time. Now, sometimes they work, sometimes they not. And again, depends how fast the malicious guys evolving. The only thing I can say to that is there is no straight solution as we buy this product, no matter what the marketing says, there is no such a thing as you buy this product, you're going to be secure, that's it. That said, it's not that you shouldn't buy that product, even if they advertise as such, and even if they advertise like silver bullet solution. Again, the best analysis I can do is, do you have an antivirus in your computer? Yes. Do you rely only on that to have security on your computer? No. It's just a first line of security,
Defense.
right? Or defense. Then you have definitely a VPN, an encryption, whatever else, right? You have all the rest of the lines. You should treat, no matter what the other said, in my judgment, whatever solution you get for, in this case, fraud detection or, payment fraud in detection, you need all the rest, yeah? It's not one silver bullet solution.
And another question that I hear a lot is data governance, because to train the models and make sure that they efficient, even with the fraud detection, it's not like we have an algorithm and then we have some kind of trained model externally, which gives us really good detection levels. We still need to provide the proper inputs for understanding who is the owner account, what is the typical transfers, even pattern maybe an access from the specific devices and locations. Do you see any there, what is changing maybe from nowadays from 5 years ago? Because usually in financial products, I've seen that the data wasn't the first focus, like the functionality and the services and the business model. Is it changing with AI that we have higher standards for data? If yes, what are the ways the infrastructure for data is evolving?
Oh yeah, there are a lot of platforms that do behavioral data. So first of all, let's split up because data is at least of two types here. I'm talking about data that, for example, for malware or very well-known types. There are database outside that everyone can use it and train on top of that. And these database are usually, depending on the database, they're updating whenever a new
Incrementally.
incrementally, whenever a new security does it. Then there are other databases very difficult to access, rightfully so, for anomaly detection or things like that. Which just in case, anomaly detection means your database you have thousands of good cases. I mean, no malicious activity at all, and then is one malicious case, anomaly, right?
Yeah.
That malicious case, it's been kept secret to most of the public. And rightfully so, because the moment you know it, or the malicious actor you know it, he knows which one he needs to avoid. So you will see the good 1,000 data set available, and then 1% not. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is one kind of the data set, and you can go around and things like that. There's another part of the data set very customized to the company. What I mean by that, depending on the company, your behavior, there are platforms that can learn from that and do your own detection, which actually is the way to go. What I mean by that, so you have a layer that is kind of true for whatever detection you're gonna buy. Yeah, you have a financial service company, fantastic. You should buy certain platform. Let's put in a name, and the platform come by default what base with an algorithm or a set of algorithm. Actually, they are already been trained to all the data available. Plus, for sure, they have access to this anomaly. They are kept secret somewhere. They have somewhere, or they develop in house, whatever. The next layer is learning from the organization, which is super important. What I mean by that is there are certain pattern or your client or the people that use your service, even if now not client, right? Well, for example, PayPal, there are definitely the client, which usually are the merchants, and there are that me as a consumer use them, but not client, right? So PayPal probably is the most difficult example because it's the behavior are very different. Yeah. However, if someone from Europe does a purchase at 3 in the morning, maybe it depends on age, 75 years old, maybe not. In Bitcoin, maybe, or related to that, maybe not. You see what I mean? But PayPal is such a vast organization that probably catch most of the behavior of different people across all the ages. It's difficult to get. But let's say payment provider for maybe I don't know, for the automotive industry. They specialize on that, whatever that is. Yeah. Well, automotive industry, you already can get a profile. It's called the profile of the actual user, right? If you fell outside of that profile, well, this is what I mean by
behavioral profile.
And that is learn over time. Yeah. By the way, this thing at the very least started in 2017 to 17, 18. I mean, there are platforms that do this behavioral stuff since 2017, 18. Now, the behavioral stuff is increasing even more because it's easier with GenAI solution to train on top of that, and you multiple point of contact with that. All I can say, these things are increasing. But I think it's important to understand it's not born with ChatGPT, both attack and defense.
I got it. So we are nearing the end of the episode. And in this case, maybe the last question from my side, maybe something that you would like to discuss for our audience, like the question that I didn't ask you, maybe anything that you think is important to highlight.
AI as an industry is spend money. Cybersecurity usually have profit. What I mean by that, the moment you embark in AI solution, I'm not saying there is no return of investment. There may be, but the return you get may be used to increase the service you have within your company rather than redundancy. As I said before, the assurance, etc. Exactly. In the assurance, etc., it comes the cyber. So the moment you restrict the budget that before you were doing manually, now you efficiently do with AI, that budget is going to be eaten up for sure by cybersecurity, increasing also, etc. So for sure, no matter if the AI will make you actual profit, it can be net zero, as in terms of budgeting and profitability of your company will be very much more efficient, with AI, 100%, more scalable, not necessarily more profitable. The profit will go to possibly assurance, but definitely cyber.
Rebalancing into the cybersecurity.
Correct. It will the budget will rebalance.
Yes.
Not necessarily go to profit of the same company.
Okay, that totally makes sense. And thank you for sharing this out with our listeners.
The most important thing I would like people to know that is if you're using open source models, so in August 2025, last year, it came into effect one chunk of the UAI Act, which was general purpose AI model. You know that?
Yes.
General purpose AI model, code of conduct, and not all the big companies signed for it.
Exactly. That's why the availability is limited in European Union.
For Meta, for example, for Meta open source model. Not all of them. Mistral sign it, Black Forest, you know them, but it's more image and video models sign it. Definitely not all the Chinese model didn't sign it. That means whoever is using open source with not compliant models, but even Grok, it partially signed it.
Yes.
In practice, what it means for the audience is experimenting or even using that. They can keep using it, but that means that all the responsibility of governance and law abiding is on them. Exactly. Nothing to share with the company that produced the initial model. And that's something to consider, I believe, or at least to know it.
Yeah, that's definitely that we should keep in mind by using open source tools, because that's becoming a quite complex infrastructure, and it means that better understanding who is doing the data governance and how those models are built is on us. So thank you, Andrea, today for participating in episode. Please subscribe to our social networks and follow us on the YouTube channel. And thank you for dedicating the time today and having this fruitful discussion.
Thank you for having me.